Red tape when you're hanging around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. Good times are coming our way. Whenever, wherever, whatever today.
Today is quite a day. I'm sure all of you out there are experiencing, whether you're right in the mix of it or right on the outside of it, the uncertain, trying, but can be something that makes us reflect more than ever is the coronavirus. Interspersing throughout our weekly episodes, I've been adding some bonus episodes because a lot of us have been overcome by this new normal. This time where we may not quite understand what's going on, we might be right in the middle of the chaos, or we might be right on the front lines seeing all of this head first. So today I wanted to reach out to you because no matter where you are, no matter how you're experiencing this or how your town or city is going through this, coping with the anxiety that comes with something like this can take a huge emotional toll. Especially if you're already living with anxiety, this could make life day to day, moment to moment, even heavier. One of the best things we can do, and one of the things we always do here at the Lone Doctrine, is learning how to understand ourselves better. For many people, the uncertainty surrounding coronavirus is the hardest thing to handle. We don't know how exactly we'll be impacted or how bad things might get, and that makes it all too easy to spiral out of control, overwhelm, dread, and even sometimes panic. But there are a lot of things you can do, even in the face of this unique crisis. Let's go through some of those things. So, how about staying informed? But don't obsessively check the news. Stick to trustworthy sources. Limit how often you check for updates. Step away from media if you start feeling overwhelmed. Ask someone reliable to share important updates, but be careful what you share. A lot of times through this crisis, our true colors will come to the surface. A lot of people will react through fear. A lot of people will react through drama. And a lot of people will have their own journey and their own lesson in finding the balance between the positive and the negative. We cannot have light without dark. And in times like these, it's less of completely ignoring what's going on, but more of just staying prepared and not obsessively checking every single facet of this crisis. Something else that helps relieve anxiety is to focus on the things you can control. In this instance, you can control washing your hands frequently, avoiding touching your face, staying at home as much as possible, even if you don't feel sick. Remember, all of us have the responsibility to keep each other safe. Whether we're sick or not, we could be a carrier. And so this, in the bigger picture, is teaching a lot of people empathy. Another thing you can control is avoiding crowds, avoiding all non-essential shopping and traveling, keeping 6 feet, I suggest even more, between yourself and others, getting plenty of sleep, which helps support your immune system, and following all those recommendations from health authorities. Plan for what you can. It's natural to be concerned about what may happen in your workplace. Your children have to stay home from school, you or someone or a loved one gets sick, or you have to self-quarantine. While these possibilities can be scary to think about, being proactive can help relieve at least some of the anxiety. Write down specific worries you have about the coronavirus and the way they're disrupting your life. If you start to feel overwhelmed, take a break. Make a list of all the possible solutions you can think of. Try not to get too hung up on the perfect option, but include whatever comes to mind that could help you get by. Focus on concrete things you can problem solve or change, rather than circumstances beyond your control. After you've evaluated all those options, draw up an action plan. When you're done, set it aside and resist the urge to go back to it until you need it or until circumstances significantly change. This can help us not spiral into the what ifs. There's so much uncertainty and things are changing moment by moment. And the best thing that you can do for your mental well-being is create a structure, create some sort of routine day to day, mentally and physically, that's going to help you not spiral into the what ifs. Another thing, even though we are sheltering in place, a lot of us can't go anywhere at all, it's still important to stay connected. And we have such a great advantage being in the year 2020. We can stay connected through the internet, through our telephones. Sometimes I have to take a moment when I'm feeling all that anxiety rise within me and remember of all the struggles that my grandparents must have had to go through. Being drafted into the war, not being able to get a hold of each other. At one point, you only relied on letters. If you really look at it, as scary as it is, and as important as our health is and keeping each other safe, we're being asked to stay home. We're not being asked to go to war. Now, granted, some of you may be on the front line of this, and it's very, very war-like. You are treating victims of an invisible enemy, and for that, I am so thankful. I too have family on the front lines, and it's such an honorable service that each of you are providing for humankind. But what I'm trying to say is that just by staying home, just by having this time to reflect, to reset, to rest, even though there are uncertain things, challenges within our livelihood, this is a time we can come out of all of this even stronger. And we do that by staying connected. Make it a priority to stay in touch with your friends and your family. If you tend to withdraw when you feel all this anxiety or when you're feeling depressed, think about scheduling a regular phone call or a chat or a Skype date, because that will start to give you the accountability to stick to a schedule. While in-person visits are limited, substitute video chatting if you're able. Face-to-face contact, seeing someone on FaceTime, is like a vitamin for your mental health. Reducing your risk of depression and anxiety is helping to also ease the stress. Social media is a powerful tool, although we also talk about not getting too far down the rabbit hole. But everything in balance. I encourage you to not let the coronavirus dominate every single conversation. It's important to take breaks from the stressful thoughts about the pandemic to simply enjoy each other's companies, to laugh, share stories, play virtual games, and focus on the other things going on in our lives. The real deal, the connection, the importance of family, friends, and loved ones. Now, for some of you, isolation may translate into loneliness. Now more than ever, I see so many people and so many organizations reaching out to remind you that you are not alone. All of us are going to need reassurance or advice or just a sympathetic ear during this difficult time. One thing I would encourage you to be open to is to reach out to different organizations. Something along the lines of personal development, mental health, or if you don't have someone you can trust or you don't have an organization in mind, you can sign up for apps such as 7 Cups. They are a really good resource that's free specifically for emotional support because it's so important to take care of your body and your mind. This is an extraordinarily trying time. And all the tried and true stress management strategies apply now more than ever, such as eating healthy meals, getting plenty of sleep, meditating, exercising, reading, journaling. Beyond that, here are some more tips for practicing self-care in the face of the unique disruptions caused by the coronavirus. Remember to be kind to yourself. Go easy on yourself if you're experiencing more depression or anxiety than usual. You're not alone in your struggles. Maintain a routine as best as you can. Create a routine if you don't have one already. Take time out for activities, obviously social distancing. Read a good book, watch a comedy, play a fun board game or video game. Make something, create something, whether it's a new recipe, a craft, or a piece of art. It doesn't matter what you do as long as it takes you out of your worries. Get out in nature if possible, find ways to exercise, and avoid self-medicating. Be careful that you're not using alcohol or other substances to deal with anxiety or depression. If you tend to overdo it in the best of times, it may be a good idea to avoid for now because it is a temporary escape. And take up some relaxation practice. Sometimes we feel so overwhelmed in this time of like, oh, I have all this time, so I should do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Or there's so many things to do that you don't do anything at all. Sometimes taking up this time to just relax will relieve those stressors to make you be able to find more balance and use these techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, yoga to bring you back into a state of equilibrium. Regular practice delivers the greatest benefits. So see if you can set aside even just a little time every day. 5 minutes. Start there. Start even 2 minutes and slowly start to expand that time to make sure you're centered and grounded as we go through these uncertain times. And still, as always, help others. I know it's difficult right now because we need to do our part in whatever way that is, and part of your position in the solution is staying home. But because of the internet, because of all of the resources we have, just giving our time, giving a moment. Something that I found the other day, which I might end up doing, but I haven't quite looked into it, is adopting a senior. Now, this sounds really silly, but it's so important. Now more than ever, seniors are the most vulnerable, but also are becoming the most lonely. And this idea was that you'd become a pen pal with a senior and you would help keep them engaged through this process as we just spend the time on sheltering in place to get us through to the other side. Something like that, something simply you can do from home, something you can sign up for, a class, or do more exercise things. There are so many outlets on where you can help others, whether you're giving to a small business, whether you're volunteering for an organization or a charity, you can do safely from home. And one of the biggest things right now, more than ever, is to be kind to others. An infectious disease is not connected to any racial or ethnic group, so speak up if you hear negative stereotypes that only promote prejudice. With the right outlook and intentions, we can all ensure that kindness and charity spread throughout our communities even faster than this virus, because kindness is even more contagious. So today and every day, and now more than ever, keep fighting the good fight.
It's a